Welcome back to Odyssey for the third best of 5 of the evening. Spawning to the bottom right in orange, playing Zerg for MyRisk and Germany. It's Miezekotze. And to the top left in purple, playing Zerg for All Inspiration and the US. It's WyScion. Going for the quick extractor and spawning pool, wanting to make a statement in this best of 5. Always a good thing to do. Throwing off the opponent mentally by throwing a quick cheese at them. Doing an extractor trick. Miezekotze opening with a spawning pool herself, knowing that WyScion is infamous for her cheesy builds, her dirty play, her filthy tactics. And that is probably all my vocabulary has to offer. Metabolic boost in the making, as well as 8 Zerglings, still on 1 base. Miezekotze does not know any of this, since she didn't want to go drone scouting. Being greedy here, well, not totally greedy, since she already has a spawning pool out, will still be difficult to defend against our former Grandmaster's level mechanics. Okay, does she see that? No, just barely not. But there's the other Overlord. So nicely done by Miezekotze. Having everything in sight, so she should know now what's going up. Does she react though, is the question. No links in the making yet, because she probably didn't have lava. But throws down the baneling nest immediately, and also gets the first few links. Also a spine crawl in the making. Knows that she will probably not be able to hold this base, but it doesn't even matter. Her opponent not even trying to waste time on taking that natural base down, since she's really all in and wants to win the fight as quickly as possible, not planting down a natural base whatsoever. Will probably end up taking down this base eventually in the meantime, to just make it more difficult for her opponent to get more units in the long run. Miezekotze going down with all of the links plus the queen, but unfortunately her own forces are not enough, and the speedlings now, or the speedlings now kicks in, actually manages to surround the queen, getting the first queen as well, now moving out for a little bit, because Miezekotze has a few more links ready, even parking right beneath this Overlord, not giving a damn. Okay, banelings in the morphing, but of course there's nothing WyScion can do at that point in time. Sending a few more links across the map. She goes into a spire right behind this though. Okay, spire off of 1 base. This is going to be fairly interesting. Miezekotze totally not expecting this, so does only have queens in order to defend this. Seems as if WyScion just wants to keep her opponent thinking that she might just send more and more units across the map. I mean, Miezekotze knows that her opponent does not have a base yet, so she's probably expecting something, but is still pretty afraid of what WyScion could throw at her, always moving in and out of these overlords here. So is only getting the usual good stuff, Spire halfway done. Already gathering some minerals here, and gas will be able to throw out 4 mutas at once. 4 mutas, not that much, but she does not have any additional queens and does not have that much energy on those queens, so not many transfusers available. Actually, only 1 queen. Is that only 1 queen? Yes! The one got taken down and got never remade, so it's only 1 queen against 4 mutalisks. So nice little maneuver there by WyScion, definitely knowing the responses of her opponents and making good use of them. So, Link's now moving in. No, Link's moving back, sorry, not moving in order to give Miezekotze the impression that The stress is over for now. Miezekotze trying to transition into a Roachhorn, but that won't do her any good. Still no second queen, no Spore Crawler, nothing. So this queen actually is dead meat. But probably her opponent will probably not even care about those. Could actually just run in right now and take out this queen if she wanted to, but of course they're still the baneling, so she has to be careful. And there they are! First 4 Mutas, nothing to defend against that. So, yeah, a lot of drones will die in the process. Spore Crawler will also probably not finish. Seems as if Miezekotze just realizes that she has to do something on the other side of the map, since her Lings and Banes won't do her any good on her side of the map anymore, even taking down... Oh no, at least that's one good thing for Miezekotze here. One Overlord got shot down, so no big supply block for WyScion here. Many forces now on the other side for Miezekotze, but it does not really matter. Still enough links left, plus the additional help of the Mutas in order to take down the remaining links. And Miezekotze does not really have a standing army anymore. Throws down a lot of Spore Crawlers frantically in order to keep herself safe from the few Mutas that are out already. But WyScion not throwing any resources into anything else but Mutas from here on out. And will still be fairly difficult for Miezekotze to defend from at all angles. There will always be just a small little gap here or there where WyScion may be able to just pick off a drone, pick off maybe an extractor even somewhere, so some buildings somewhere. Flying around a little bit, trying to find a good angle where she can apply some more pressure. Miezekotze doing her best to stay alive at that point in the game. She's down in workers now. WyScion managed to pull herself back economically by harassing. And Miezekotze, of course, needs some anti-air, so is obviously going into Hydralisks. But not enough right now in order to take out these forces. Has to be careful where she actually moves these Hydralisks. WyScion moving in, wants to take down that Hydralisk and gets it! Very important for her, so no more Hydralisks for Miezekotze right now. Has to remake this Hydralisk den, possibly at a better location, so that it won't be taken out, well, that easily once more. And at the same time, Roachhorn for WyScion wants to have some more beef on the ground, probably especially against the Hydras, so that she will be able to then later on move in with all of the forces, clearing off the map off of Overlords, making the best use of these Mutas and clearing off the creep as well. Just moving in and moving out. Mutalisks sort of that are so mobile, it's just ridiculous. Checking for a third base over here, probably with these links, I expect. Okay, just moving in, killing off one Hydra again, but losing a Muta for it at the same time. Still, she knows that every Hydra is fairly precious to Miezekotze. Knows that there's no Overload over here. Has not found that one yet, but will probably end up eventually. So going in, killing off a drone, and then moving out once more. Just doing what Phoenixes usually do for Protoss. Moving in here and there, just ignoring the damage dealt by the Spore Crawlers and killing it. Of course, Phoenixes do not get as much damage from Spore Crawlers as Mutas do, since Spore Crawlers do additional damage to bio units, which Phoenixes are not, but Mutas are. So, army units moving around. WyScion has almost taken a third base and will be able to saturate it, so economy-wise she should be in the lead in just a few moments here. Clear reconstitution incoming for both players. Miezekotze knows that she will need some meat in front of her fragile Hydralisks in order to get the best potential out of them. But then, of course, she does not really know how many more Mutas her opponent will eventually produce. So even if you have a lot of Hydras out, if there are a lot of Mutas and you just have way less Hydras, they can still just fly over them and kill them. Until, of course, the Hydras hit a certain amount, then the Hydras just gun down Mutas so quickly it doesn't even matter how many Hydras there are. Has to, again, nice cancel there on the third base for WyScion. And now the roaches are moving in. Now she finally has the beef in order to take out the fragile Hydras. And Miezekotze does not. At least a nice engagement there for Miezekotze here. She will be able to at least gun down a few roaches before the engagement. WyScion not really comfortable in taking an engagement yet. Ooh, big blunder there actually. A little bit of a misclick there with her mutas, not really babysitting them and losing almost all of them there. So that was actually the best trade that Miezekotze could hope for. And now WyScion is back to only roaches. Doesn't really want to invest into any more mutas at that point in time. Getting Burrow, getting the missile upgrade. Does not have any Hydras of her own, or a Hydra den so to speak of, but might just overwhelm her opponent with the sheer mass before Miezekotze can actually get enough roaches of her own in order to buffer for the enormous DPS of the Hydralisks. Yeah, and this force could just kill her. No upgrade advantage, but a little bit more of a supply advantage. Also in the long run, her economy is far better than that of Miezekotze, who has not been able to keep that third base for quite some time. And here we have the engagement. Roaches not really all in front, just streaming in little by little. Actually a few Hydras in the front as well. WyScion doing a good job of taking out most of these roaches, but it's just not enough. Like I said, if you have enough roaches to buffer for the Hydralisk right behind him. Ooh, Miezekotze unfortunately moving right in Corrosive Biles, getting killed like 3 or 4 of her Hydras at once, which are very precious at that point in time. Has to be careful not to overextend here. I mean, yes, of course, she really wants to decimate her opponent's army, and again, not paying attention to these Corrosive Biles landing on most of these Hydras there. So that was, in the end, a fairly nice engagement for WyScion, although it didn't need to be one. So, this force should actually suffice in order to drive these Ravagers and Roaches away. Again, has to be careful not to overextend here. Yes, of course, you want to follow those and kill off as many tech units as possible, but fighting upwards a ramp is always a risky task. So more Roaches incoming. And now we have a big Roach fight on top of that ramp, and the Hydras are fairly exposed. Good concave here for WyScion. No upgrade advantage yet for either player, but with the additional damage of the Corrosive Biles and less Roaches in the mix, it seems as if WyScion will prevail. More and more Roaches streaming in, but as they arrive, they just get caught within that concave of WyScion, killing off all of the queens. Miezekotze transfusing her little heart out, but it will not suffice in the end, and WyScion kills off the remaining forces of Miezekotze. Only a few roaches left that keep WyScion from destroying this third base, and if this third base falls, then this game is definitely over, since Miezekotze does not have another mining base up. This base is almost dry, this base is, so to speak, dry, so it does not really matter in the long run. WyScion has a very healthy third base, could even take a fourth right now if she wanted to, but she knows that she's far ahead and only needs to build more units in order to seal the deal. Better concave once more, roaches moving forwards, that's never a good sign if your opponent dares to do that. GG, and WyScion takes the first map. Ascension to Ayur is Miezekotze's pick. Could have just picked Odyssey once more, because the layout of the map is fairly similar to Odyssey's. You have the ramp down towards the natural base, a wide open space without a ramp into the natural, and then a little plateau, and then to the left another base, only without the ramp, while there is another base over to the right hand side with a ramp. So yeah, layout fairly similar. Albeit a little bit different. So again, Miezekotze knows WyScion's reputation, does not dare to go for a hatch first against her opponent, and WyScion playing the mind games by taking an unexpected base early on. Messing with her mind. And only then going into extractor and pool. And this shows us how good it can be to have a reputation, knowing about it, and abusing it against the expectations of your opponent. So extractor done, base already in the making for Miezekotze as well, but will be a little bit later than that of WyScion. Both sending their overlords across the map. And we could actually just enable music here. Totally forgot about that. So first two scouting zerglings on their way towards the opponent's base. Queen's already in the making. Two at once while speed is being done. WyScion plants down a spy crawler because she cannot really know if there are more links to follow these two. So she just wants to be secure in case more links are coming from a different angle. If Miezekotze actually bothered to send them around the typical Overlord scouting patterns. So, but no such thing is happening. Still letting it finish, maybe for later, so that it won't be that easy for Miezekotze to do some run-bys into her main base. Binding nest in the making, positioning the queen right in between the hatchery and the binding nest, which will it make more difficult for links to surround it. Quick evolution chamber there for WyScion. Does she want to go for Overlord drops? Probably not. That would be fairly stupid against another player using a lot of zerglings, because you can either run by, there would be no need. No, probably just for early upgrades. So a few more units streaming across the map, not to do real damage, but mostly for scouting purposes. Just poking the front, seeing what kind of units you see, how many of them you see, and then gathering information that way. So this link shouldn't come through. No way. Sees the binding nest though, but that's not really that important. Miezekotze on the move. Sends a lot of links across the map, but of course this Overlord sees them. Miezekotze knows that she got seen. So WyScion just retreating into the safety of her spine crawler, only morphing one Baneling because she does not really have that much gas left. So the links finally arrive, but there's 4 queens ready to greet them. Nothing much she can do. Miezekotze sending more and more links across the map. But without Banes, I don't think she will be able to accomplish that much. Okay, trying to get around of all of these units, but WyScion getting a good surround on those. And now the rest of the links just run into 2 of the Banes, getting completely destroyed. And now, of course, Miezekotze has to be very afraid of the counter-aggression that WyScion is very probable to send across the map towards her. So the links are already on the run, the Banelings coming right behind them. We only have 2 Banelings from Miezekotze with good positioning and good use. She might actually be able to get some good hits, unfortunately not really. Most of the links survive, but she might be able to just hold it off anyways, because she just has a few queens plus links plus the first few roaches out anyways. Still, more links and banelings incoming, so the links alone won't really help her. And the lonely roaches can easily get sniped down by the links and banes, but the banes of course she wants to use on the echo, getting 9 worker kills at once, which is a huge blow. Miezekotze only a little bit behind since she has just thrown so much before that. But it seems with queens and the help of the roaches, she's actually able to drive this push by WyScion away. That also brought queens, and actually these 4 queens, woo, will get taken down by Miezekotze's queen. Is so nice little catch there. WyScion still producing links over here. Miezekotze looking quite okay-ish, we have to say, being ahead in supply, in total supply, having a few more units here. Almost the same in workers, has already started to produce a few more workers again, but the roaches are there. Of course, they are still slow roaches, so WyScion could still make good use of the superior mobility of these links by doing some run-bys and making these roaches move from one half of the map to another one. Yeah, this base unfortunately now is wide open. There's also not a spine crawler or any banelings here. So sending in the links to all angles, and the roaches just have to crawl their way back. There's no creep between the bases, so they take quite some time. 16, 17, 18, 20 workers have already died in the process, so Miezekotze unfortunately losing most of her income right now, which should allow WyScion to eventually come back economically. Yeah, I mean, now she's already taken the lead and is throwing down the third base right behind it. So again, roaches over here, but the links just streaming in from the left, from the right. Not enough roaches here in order to defend at all locations, and the links are just a lot quicker than the roaches. So with +1 upgrade, links also do a tremendous amount of damage to roaches and workers. So again, WyScion always sending in the links where the roaches are not. Will probably now just send in these links positioned over here while retreating with those. The roaches again just running in once more. It reminds you of a mutaing player who just always sends in the mutas where your army is not, and then once it comes in, you just run towards another location. Again, still some links inside the main base. The roaches again have to split up. More links streaming inside the third base here. 49 workers have already been killed, though not in a row. And Miezekotze really struggling to defend all of her places, with WyScion being relentless with all of her links here. Always has to be careful not to send too small chunks of roaches to somewhere, because then the links could just surround them and take them out. And behind all of this, WyScion just saturating her third base here, while putting up some spine crawlers, just in case Miezekotze should try for some sort of roach run-by, which she just can't even think about at that point in time. Trying to desperately save her economy that's mostly gone already. Down to 12, 10, 8, 7 workers. More links streaming in, the roaches just being way too slow. GG, and WyScion takes the second map as well. Third map is Defender's Landing. We have Miezekotze to the top right, and Kwanmin-yang, or WyScion, spawning to the bottom left. Let's see if Miezekotze can defend against the storming masses of WyScion this time around, or if WyScion might end up taking the 8th 3-0 of the week. Again, going for an early hatch. Quite daring on this map, but like I said, playing the mind games here. Miezekotze probably not expecting her opponent to go for a hatch first on the map with the shortest rush distance of them all. So of course you'd expect a player like WyScion to have a deep look into her treasure chest of filthy builds and pull out the meanest of them all. But she's not. Instead going for a hatch first build, while her opponent opens with the conservative spawning pool before hatch and extractor. Wants to be able to produce a few links, just in case her opponent was building a few links early on. So hatch is almost done. Miezekotze will see that. And will probably already be annoyed of seeing that she got mind-gamed once more, but unfortunately there's not much you can do about that. Some decisions in StarCraft you just have to make before you get the information you need. So at least might be able to get this Overlord down, although there's already some links on the move. Yeah, and Miezekotze realizes that does not really want to step too far away from creep. We have Roach-Warren plus Burrow incoming, so seems as if WyScion wants to go for a few roaches and use her Burrow micro in order to make the opponent freak out, while Miezekotze is expecting a usual Ling-Baneling push. So goes into speed and the Baneling Nest, not having any idea that WyScion might be doing something like that. Could actually see the Roach one. Did she see that? I don't think so. Oh, she had. Oh, she did. So actually she should kind of know about the Roach one if she bothered to click on the building, but might have actually just expected it to be a Baneling Nest, so she might not have ended up clicking on that Roach one in order to see what it was, but is now expecting her opponent to just go for the usual Ling-Baneling. WyScion first wants to take out this cooling tower so that this opening towards her main base will be blocked. So if she runs towards her opponent with the roaches in order to deal some damage, it will be more difficult for Miezekotze to do some run-bys into her natural base. Now has the roaches done, Burrow is also done, is obviously waiting for a few more units to arrive. No, just wants to use them in order to block the ramp here against the Ling forces that are incoming, and she saw them with the Overlord over here. So yeah, the ramp is blocked with drones and roaches. No way in for Miezekotze, but now Miezekotze knows that her opponent actually went for a lot of roaches. Wants to break through here with the Ling forces, and there are a lot of Ling forces here. This queen does not have enough energy for transfuse. WyScion tries to secure most of her roaches by burrowing them, so they will return later on with more hit points. But Miezekotze now inside the natural base and main base of her opponent. Roaches again need to be burrowed in order to heal up a little bit more quickly, so that they will be able to come back and fight another day. Most of the forces of Miezekotze have died by now, but 10 workers are already down. Unfortunately for Miezekotze, a few of these Lings waste their life fighting against a superior amount of roaches. Now, of course, WyScion has actually 8, 10, 12, 13 roaches to cross the map, and they have Burrow. Miezekotze does not have a lair yet, so she does not have the possibility to build overseers and spot them. She also does not have a spore crawler in place, and even if she had, you cannot really have a spore crawler everywhere. So WyScion just moving towards the other entrance into the natural base, and there's actually just nothing Miezekotze can do. I mean, the only thing she has are a few Lings. She cannot even get a full surround on like 3 or 4 of these roaches, let alone 13. Now a little bit less, but yeah, all of these move in. The wounded roaches can even burrow. The few roaches of Miezekotze will of course help out a little bit, but eventually with good burrow micro, and we know that WyScion has it, she will be able to just outplay these roaches fairly easily. Workers being pulled, going down, Miezekotze trying to do her best against the roaches, but what can she do without an overseer? Waiting for that spore crawler to finish in order to grant her at least some vision. WyScion realizes that that will happen in just a few seconds, so she moves away from the spore crawler and repositions somewhere else, waiting for the roaches to heal and maybe some more to come, but she doesn't even need to attack that much more. Has taken a third base behind it while having killed most of the drones at the natural base. Having killed 10 and is now ahead 7 workers. And a little bit in tech. So Miezekotze not even having enough resources in order to get a lair. She desperately wants to churn out units in order to be able to defend an incoming push that might happen at any moment. And has just now started the lair, but it will take another 50 seconds before finishing, so still a huge timing window for WyScion to make use of, if she ever wants to do that. So just driving away that Overlord over here, planting a Spore Crawler down at every base in order to grant her a little bit of vision. But might even expect a transition out of WyScion into something else, because that's what she is known for. Walking in with the first few units, making you produce something, and while she actually makes you producing that something, she's already working on the counter towards what you will probably do. So Miezekotze is still alive. That's already an impressive achievement. Is just waiting for the lair to finish so that you will be able to get an Overseer, because without Overseers it does not really make sense to attack her opponent, because she will never be able to spot the burrowed roaches. +1 almost done. Another big roach attack incoming by WyScion. She has a big army lead. But of course, I think Miezekotze's lair is done. She should morph one of these Overlords into an Overseer, I feel. But she has not done so yet. So again, this engagement might be a little bit more problematic for her. Seems as if, but I think WyScion at that point in time will also not expect her to not have an Overseer, so she might not even want to use Burrow Movement. Just sees that there are way less roaches than her own, and even with two additional, even with the 2 additional Ravagers here, she can easily overpower this defensive force of Miezekotze, taking out the remaining forces while more roaches are streaming in. And these 3 even get caught before they can actually engage the army, pulling more and more workers here, which just makes the situation worse and worse, but of course there's not much she can do against it. And WyScion moving in with the rest of the army forces, getting a good concave on all of these remaining queens. GG! And WyScion takes the series 3-0.